only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and our fermentertainer,
Wayne Baker.
And now today we are very excited to welcome two new friends of the podcast with us. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
Paul Lahm.
And
Ken Averbukh.
Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. We appreciate it. And I know you've brought some goodies with you that I had an eye on earlier, but they seem to not be in my vision anymore. But I know they're still, in a way, staring me down.
The one that was in your vision is actually empty.
Everything I know just turned upside down. Well, the one that was
up is down, black is white, and short is long.
Yes.
The cooler is bigger.
The cooler is bigger.
On the inside?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think
There's
Wayne got
beer
where
in
I was
it,
going
so-
with
Yes,
that.
yes.
But the one that's staring at me now that it's back on the table is a Philadelphia Flyers bottle with a Philadelphia Flyers bottle cap that looks fantastic. So pictures of those, of course, will be on all of our social media and whatnot. But just so we can get to drinking some beer sooner. And as Steph is tapping on a bottle to remind me, I forgot to mention, we do have a sipping beer with us today. What do we have, Steph?
Of course, we are drinking a beer from Hardywood. Thank you, Joe Man. This is part of their barrel series. It's the Bourbon Sadamo, which is an imperial coffee stout aged in bourbon barrels. It's quite tasty.
It is very good. What's the ABV?
I knew you were going to ask that. 10.3.
10.3.
Oh, and this is I finally found the year. It's down here. It is the 2014 release of this beer. It's quite tasty.
Oh, okay.
It is really good. I like it. So, Joe Man, thank you again for getting us drunk. So, I'll admit, this week was kind of thin for news. It was tough to figure out exactly what we wanted to talk about today. But Wayne had pointed out an article to me that was shared by our friends at Saucony Creek and Natalie from Weyerbacher also. There is now less bureaucratic red tape standing between you and your next brew. And federal officials have simplified parts of the approval process for bringing new beers to market, something that in the past could take months. And these changes means consumers could see new brews showing up in stores and bars more quickly, while brewers enjoy greater flexibility to experiment with ingredients and production techniques. It's great news in terms of streamlining for the brewer, says Paul Gatza, who is director of the Brewers Association. It does give brewers greater freedom, and chances are beer drinkers will have more options of beers available to them. The rule change greenlights the use of more than 30 ingredients, including honey, certain fruits, spices, and coffee, in beer recipes without getting formula approval. It also says producers no longer need prior approval to age beer in barrels previously used to store wine and distill spirits, a popular trend among the growing craft beer market.
I wasn't aware that there were so many regulations and needs for approval for using fruit and barrel aging and things like that.
Well, apparently the approvals, you do need to get it approved and everything, but the approvals themselves could have averaged about 70 days before. So not only was there an approval, but it was a lengthy process to get approval.
Right.
The approvals are needed before brewers get their labels approved as well, which can take another 2 weeks, according to the U.S. Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. Yeah.
Which is the ATT.
I think they just go by TTB, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, at Strange Ways Brewing in Richmond, where the motto is Think Strange, Drink Strange, brewer Mike Hiller says that in some cases, it's taken brewers more than 6 months to get a barrel-aged beer to market. Brewers are going to be a little less leery of using particular ingredients, but we're making goofy beer in one way or another, joked Hiller, who makes beers such as the Gourd of Thunder Imperial Pumpkin Porter, Woodbooger Belgian-style beer, brown ale, and
Woodbooger.
Yep, and Cranberry Disintegration Barrel-Aged IPA.
I know there was a thing back when there was a government shutdown, like last year or whatever. There was a whole thing where people couldn't get their labels approved, and so that held up production.
Yeah, I think things are pretty much back on track at this point, but there was a huge delay at that time, especially for breweries that were just opening and trying.
If you needed a reason to care about whether or not the government shuts down, I know a lot of people I don't care, but you may not get beer.
That's true.
You know?
Yep. Well, so your new and strange brews can go to market a lot quicker thanks to this new rule. Now, the other two articles, they're kind of quick blurbs that I found, but me being the entertainment person that I am, thought this was kind of interesting. So, in light of recent success of Wahlburgers, which A&E runs, its Mark Wahlberg produced show about a burger joint.
Burgers that are thrown against the wall and then served to you.
No.
Or from the Wahlburger family. A&E has greenlit a new series from Mark Wahlberg under the working title The Big Brew Theory, which will follow 4 quirky and highly intelligent MIT grad students who have pooled their life savings together to achieve their dream of creating a homegrown microbrewery. And, of course, to make it friendlier for TV, they team up with a beautiful MIT undergrad to launch their business. The pilot is being produced by A&E Network by 44 Blue Productions. A bunch of other entertainment companies are involved here, but basically, as if Mark Wahlberg didn't have enough money, A&E is giving him more for a beer-related reality show.
So he'll have 2 reality shows now.
Yes, Wahlburgers and then The Big Brew Theory.
Does he have a brewing connection?
I don't know, to be honest. All I know is it's him producing the show based on these MIT students. None of the articles that I read about this from Variety or Deadline or anybody
his connection was he went into a boardroom with a bunch of executives and said, like, all the kids are really into beer right now. I think we can make some money.
Now, is he actually going to be on the show, or is he just an executive producer of the show? Okay.
Yeah. The other one, relatively timely, is that Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose, who we all may or may not have certain opinions of, has gotten in on the World Cup fever by making a cameo off stage in a beer ad titled The Greatest Show on Earth. The twist is that it's the soccer players who are the rock stars. In the clip, which also features a cameo...
My mind is blown.
Yeah. By MMA fighter Anderson Silva, a soccer stadium turns into a concert with the tagline, "In the World Cup, boys, you are the rock stars." There's a couple famous footballers that are in there, including a guy named Hulk from Brazil, Gary Cahill from England, Samuel, word I can't pronounce, from Cameroon, and Yoshida from Southampton, England, who proceed to pick up instruments and form a rap rock band to play Paradise City with revamped soccer-specific lyrics. "Take me down to the Paradise City where the grass is green and the ball is queen."
What?
Yes.
That doesn't even...
What does that even mean?
Doesn't make a lick of sense to me, which just goes to show you how crazy Axl Rose is now that he's grasping for
fat
straws.
and desperate for money. I'm sorry, that's mean.
But basically, yeah. But if you think he's just living off of his past glory days...
Can that be our logo our slogan for like a week? Beer Busters. The ball is queen.
We
for
should.
no reason at all.
He did make a point to mention that Guns N' Roses have 2 full-length releases in the bag and are just figuring out when to release them, apparently. So not only is he in a World Cup-themed beer commercial, but apparently there's new Guns N' Roses that's coming out, so who the hell cares about Guns N' Roses anymore? Anyway, we have new friends at the table. So, gentlemen, thank you again for coming out here to the Beer Busters podcast basement and bringing your concoctions with you. I am very much looking forward to drinking what you have with you, especially since there's a Flyers fan at the table. Now, it's Dabbler is the name of the brewery, right?
Yep.
The brewing company. Okay, so where did the name Dabbler come from?
It kind of speaks to what a brewer does. You find that as a brewer, well, a head brewer, half of your time is spent being the head janitor and, head pump fixer and tubing mover and large tubs of yeast director. So it really is a very versatile job that gets dirty, requires a lot of technical skill.
A yeast conductor?
Yeah, I mean, you move things around quickly to get stuff done. So it's really it's a lot of jobs in one, and you think, beer in a glass is pretty simple, but in the end it's not very simple to make it. So
yeah, there's a lot involved. And Steph, being the home brewer out of the 3 of us, has mentioned before that it's mostly really janitorial work in the end. I mean, you get to play around with the recipes and actually making it, but there's a lot of cleaning up you have to do.
Yeah, particularly if you're doing it commercially.
Yeah,
maybe even more so.
I'm very happy that there's a Flyers fan here with us, and I know Steph is not necessarily happy. So now, the beauty of having the 2 of you with us is we have somebody who has a Flyers connection and somebody who just doesn't really give a crap about sports overall, more or less.
Go sports.
So my question to you then is, how exactly were you guys friends before and then started to brew together, or did you meet by some weird random happenstance?
So.
Yeah, we actually met through a mutual friend at a girls' night for the most part. I was dropping off my fiance, he was dropping off his girlfriend. We met through that. I had been homebrewing for a couple of years. He had been homebrewing for quite a few more years than that, as well as working in the industry professionally. We kind of got together, started talking about what we're doing, and decided to start brewing together on our spare time, and it kind of just escalated from there to trying to start this new brewery.
Yeah. Well, story goes, it really was just I got really drunk at a bar for my girlfriend's brother's birthday and screamed about Maris Otter malt being the best malt in the world to Paul for like an hour and a half while playing darts. And we started brewing like the week after, so that's how she goes.
Very cool. And now, Paul, you met Zach Ronaldo as a Flyers fan.
Yes, actually, I met him for, actually the whole story is, when I started homebrewing, there were, it's one of those hobbies where once you start, you want to share it with people because that's half the fun of going through it. But when you give an unlabeled mystery bottle to your friends and family, they don't really think about it, and it doesn't look very professional, and no one's really excited to try it. They're kind of scared because they don't know what the hell's in there, especially when you're first starting out. So I just started making Flyers-themed bottles or labels because it was a passion of mine, just the Flyers in general. But after a while, I went to the Flyers Wives Carnival every year with my fiance, and would go to the different booths where you can get autographs and pictures with the different Flyers players and all that. So I would take the labels, print a high-res picture of it on like a regular printer paper, but get them to autograph it so the next time I made the batch, I could print out autographed labels, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I showed Zach Ronaldo his, and he said, well, basically, my picture's on it, I should be able to try it, right? Like, you can make me a case? So he wrote an address I should drop off the beers to on the sheet that he autographed. I made him a batch, dropped it off, and about a week later, he apparently had showed it off in the locker room, and another Flyers player, Jay Rosehill, actually emailed me asking if he could make, or if I could make a commemorative batch for him as well. So I made the Jay Rosehill Broad Street Beatdown Blonde Ale, and then delivered to him at the last home Flyers game of this season, 2014, against the I think it was the Hurricanes. Got to go, like backstage, as it were, towards the locker room. Met up with him, dropped off the beer. Got my picture with him and all that. He gave me this game use stick from that game. Was a super nice guy. But got to meet a lot of the Flyers players down there. But yeah, I didn't meet Zach Ronaldo to actually drop off his beers. I took it to the practice center, but I did meet Jay Rosehill in the Flyers locker room.
That's really cool. So, are they still contacting you about this stuff and still trying to get you to brew a little more for them, or
not right now? But their season ended shortly after that, so it's kind of been radio silence.
Yeah.
Well, they must be pretty good beers, because I imagine, they wouldn't.
Apparently, they like the first one enough that
they asked for another one.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like some crazy fans putting our picture on his beer, Weirdo.
So all he wanted to use his likeness was just a case of the beer, huh?
Yeah. Exactly, that was it.
You do what it takes for free beer.
Yeah, well, isn't that the truth?
Although I think
podcast.
I think if you start trying to use those labels if you actually sell Dabbler Brewing beers, I think there would be a different story.
I don't think Ed Snyder would like that too much.
Yeah, probably.
No, there's a lot there.
So, Paul, you come to us with a lot of cred as well. You sent me a whole list of homebrewing awards that you have won over the years. Do you want to talk about a few of those?
We actually just started getting into the serious competition mode, but the first one I ever won was actually the Zach Ronaldo rye beer that I brought here. Before he had even heard about it, and I got his autograph, and that whole road went down that way. There was a Battle of the Homebrew competition that's put on by Philly Beer Scene magazine 2 years ago. The first round of the competition was you had to collaborate, you had to make the best rye beer you could make. It didn't really have any real specific rules or regulations. It was just that had to include rye, and rye had to be a prominent ingredient in the beer you made. Submit it to your local homebrew shop, and the best beer from each shop would go into the second round. The winner of the first round would win a rye whiskey barrel from Dad's Hep Whiskey Company.
Yeah.
Then you had to collaborate with the owner of that homebrew shop and make 15 gallons of that beer to take to NHC when it was in Philadelphia last year. So I won the first round of that and got to do the collaboration beer. Unfortunately, didn't win the second round, but apparently it's pretty decent if they liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
It was a really awesome double black IPA with crazy whiskey flavors in it.
Oh,
it was awesome.
Yeah,
lot going on.
the Dad's Hat proprietor visited us at the Berks County Homebrew Club meetings, and I think we went through 2 bottles of the Dad's Hat passing around But I know a few people in our homebrew club have Dad's Hat barrels, and now they have like maple syrup aged in the barrels that you can pick up at like Keystone Homebrew and
coffee beans and
yeah,
stuff.
it's nice to see a local whiskey maker,
Yep.
now collaborating with the beer industry and homebrewers. And
Yep.
Yeah, actually, like 2 weeks ago, we were at the Philadelphia Mash Bash, and we got a 2nd place, a 3rd place, and a 4th place on the double IPA. Got 4th.
Yeah.
The Belgian Dark Strong came in 3rd or 2nd. Which one was it?
I believe
Third
that
was
was
third.
3rd. The Ubik came in at 2nd for Mash Bash and 3rd at the Philly Homebrew Cup. You guys are going to drink some award winners.
Always a good time.
It's going to be fantastic. That's why you do the show.
Yeah, exactly, right.
That's half the reason.
Yeah. Now, Ken, you're in the brewing business yourself, right, outside of Dabbler, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're with Lancaster, is it?
Yeah, I'm a sales rep, brand ambassador kind of guy, all around tasting and sampling and beer festival guru with Lancaster Brewing Company.
Lancaster Milk Stout was, I think, the first stout that I genuinely liked.
It's definitely an interesting style. You don't see much of it. I think ours is pulled off quite well. It's very hard to have a balance between all the roasted malt character and the lactose and all the specialty malts that go in it. So I think ours is pretty good. It's also left-hand nitro, and that's pretty much it for the style as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I actually had left-hand nitro the other day.
Yeah, it's a great beer. So
yeah.
We do make a banging milk stout.
So what's it like doing the double duty between Lancaster and Dabbler?
You switch shirts in your car a lot. You remember which business card you're giving out. You don't want to feel like a butt,
If you're wearing one T-shirt and handing out the other business card.
Yeah, right, which is the worst. And it it really bothers me in the sense that if I'm at a sampling or something, everyone's like, oh, what do you do outside of that? I was like, well, here's a whole story about this brewing company I started, and they go off this tangent, but I'm pouring Lancaster beer as I'm talking about it. It's rough, but I try and, not confuse work with work.
Yeah.
Definitely
do you get
two separate entities.
Any kind of pushback from Lancaster about like conflict of interest or anything?
No, I mean
most breweries are pretty encouraging about it.
Yeah, well, I firmly believe in the rising tide floats all ships, and I know that I've talked about it with my boss at length, and he's very supportive. He knows that I'm not leaving this company anytime soon because, as any brewery opening, every person who owns it needs a day job for a while. Mm-hmm. So he knows I'm going to be here for a while, so it's not that big of a deal. And it means free beer for them in the end. Anyone who's ever supported me is not buying beer for a while because it takes a lot to bring this to the market.
We wholeheartedly support Dabbler Brewing Company.
Thanks, guys.
Here at Beer Busters.
You all can split one bottle.
It's more than we had earlier.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I assume, since you're both Philly boys, this will be a Philly-located brewery.
Yep, South Philly, hopefully. We're going to kill it in South Philly. That's right.
Represent.
Well, I'm a West Philly transplant, and I like the area, but Dock Street's over there, and we're not gonna do that. That's not nice.
No goat brain beers from you guys.
Walker was awesome.
I didn't try it.
Justin Lowe's a great brewer. He makes some awesome stuff. So being a West Philly native and kind of a drunk, I often found myself at their bar. For whatever reason, take the bus out there. They make some awesome beer. A lot of people are against the goat brain idea, but if Dogfish Head can make beer with lobsters in it and chunks of beef, and moon dust and stuff, and like Appalachian goat milk or whatever. I don't know.
Something along
bring
those
it,
lines.
bring it to market. Fermented with the tears of baby Jesus.
That would be a limited release.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
right?
that be Sweet Baby Jesus?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Artificial peanut butter, 4 tiers of actual Jesus.
It sounds like tiers is a unit of measure. We have 4 tiers of actual genius and 3 ounces of...
You can buy the milliliters of it of Craigslist. You get those little syringes with them.
100 cc's of Jesus.
Yeah, right.
Oh. Well, we would again like to thank you for making the trek to us here at the Beer Busters podcast basement. And coming from Philly, I can appreciate the trek that you've made to be here tonight.
Anytime, guys.
Well, for those who may not be aware, what we do from here is, just to lighten the mood a little bit, Wayne prepares a little something every week. So, Wayne, what do we have this time?
A little song. It's time to come on, get happy, and go play, have fun. That's right, it's time for Happy Fun Time Games, and today we return to the continuation of the beerducation of the Beer Buster Nation as we play Libation or Fabrication. This is also the game that I put together when I wait till the last minute to do it.
You don't have to admit that to
FYI.
people. You
I
really
feel bad.
don't.
I
You
feel
don't.
bad. Anyway, so the way this game works, for anybody who doesn't know, for our guests here, we all know that there's beers out there that have some pretty strange names. And I have compiled a list of some of those beers, and I've also made up some fake ones as well. And you will have to determine whether the beer I'm telling you is real or fake. So we're going to go down the line. We'll alternate who goes first, and each person will tell me whether they think the beer is real or fake. And we will begin by random choice to my left with Dan. And the name of this beer, number one, tell me, is this real or fake? This beer is called Have You Seen My Pants?
First off, does anybody actually believe it was random choice to go to your left?
Yeah. I spun a wheel and everything.
Yeah, totally. Have you seen my pants? Real.
Dan says, Have You Seen My Pants is real. Steph, what do you think? Is that a real or fake beer?
I'll say real.
You'll say real as well. Paul, what's your guess?
Leaning towards real.
You're leaning towards real, and rounding it out with Ken, real.
You completely made that up.
You completely
Yeah.
made that up. Ken is absolutely correct. I
Boom.
did, in fact, completely make that up. This is not a real beer, nor is it a question you ever want to be in the position to have to ask. Have you seen my pants? Moving along, and Steph's going to go first on this one. Our second beer here is called Old Engine Oil.
It's real.
Steph says that is real. Paul, what do you think?
Real.
Paul says real. Ken?
This is the real deal.
It's the real deal. And rounding it out with Dan?
Real and delicious.
Real and delicious, and everyone is absolutely correct. That is, in fact, 100% real. Known varyingly as a black ale, a dark ale, or a porter. It's offering from Harveston Brewery in Scotland. Definitely lives up to its name in terms of color. Dark chocolate dominates the taste, which I imagine is not true of actual Old Engine Oil. It sits at 6% ABV. As an aside, this was interesting. If you go to their website, you know when you go to brewery websites, they always ask you, are you 21, or you have to enter in your birthday or whatever. Yeah. Well, this one says, are you of legal drinking age? And the options are enter or I'm not old enough and I'm scared of the Cookie Monster.
Nice.
I chose the latter. Moving along for our third beer, and Paul is up first on this one. And this beer, tell me, is it real or fake? This beer is called Pig Swill. Pig Swill.
I'm going to go fake.
You're going to go fake on that one. Ken, what do you think? You think it's real or fake?
I am certain that is fake.
You are absolutely certain that is fake. Dan, is that real? Is it fake? Is it true? Is it false?
I want to say real.
Real, says Dan. And Steph, what do you think?
I'll say real.
Steph will say real as well. Dan and Steph are correct. That is, in fact, real. This is a beer from Wiltshire, England. It's a 4.4% ABV English bitter by Stonehenge Ales Limited, which is also known as Bunce's Brewery. It's one word. I don't know if it's Pig Swill or Pig's Will or Pigs will inherit the earth.
Can I hear it in a sentence?
Pigs will inherit the earth. It boasts a rich hop aroma with mild bitterness in the taste. The brewery boasts a disappointing website which looks as though it may not have changed since 1997.
Vintage.
Pig Swill Vintage. This is our fourth and final beer, and Ken's going to go first on this one, and this beer is called Irish Death.
Oh, geez.
Irish Death.
Let's go with real.
Going with real, says Ken. Dan, what do you think? Irish Death, real or fake?
I'm going to go with real as well.
You're going to go real as well, and Steph?
I think I said real for all of them, so I'll just continue the trend and say real.
Continue saying real, and finally, Paul?
I'm not going to buck the trend. Let's go real.
Everybody's saying real. Everybody is correct. Irish
Yay.
Death is very real. This one, we're back in the States now. This brew is by Iron Horse Brewery in Ellensburg, Washington. It's a relatively boozy 7.8% and called an American Strong Ale by Beer Advocate, though the Iron Horse website claims any attempt at classifying just ends up sending beer geeks into a style guidelines diatribe, and that they lovingly refer to it as beer candy. Whatever you call it, Irish Death certainly sounds like a pretty badass way to go out. Irish Death, a real beer. So we're going to add up the points real quick here and see who our big winner was, and it looks like we have a menage a trois once again, a three-way tie for first place between Dan, Steph, and Ken, each with 3 points apiece. Coming in just behind, but not part of the gang, with only 2 points is Paul.
Woo!
It's okay, Paul. Don't worry. I've been in your position.
At least everybody made it on the board this time around, so that's a good thing.
That's true. All right, well, do we have a tiebreaker, or is that just kind of like, hey, congratulations, you're all the same?
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 34.
15.
32.
32.
7.
16. Dan, you were close. Dan, you win.
Hey, by default. Not really by default. Well, that was riveting. So
that's a fake beer.
I am on the edge of my seat.
Absolutely, I am. Okay, so just to keep this moving along, Steph, what do we have for?
No.
your beers.
No. Know your beers. So, inspired by Paul's awesome rye beer, we're going to talk about rye beers today on Know Your Beers. And a beer that sort of was left behind, perhaps, by American brewers in the past is kind of gaining in popularity. And it seems like most craft brewers are starting to add a rye beer to their lineup. In fact, in 2006, in the World Beer Cup competition, there were only 8 entries in the rye beer category. 2008 we saw 17, and this past year there were 47 entries. So that just shows that there is a big increase. One of the main reasons for that is because the World Beer Cup has very strict guidelines saying that you must use at least 20% rye malt, where a lot of breweries are only using 10 to 15% rye malt. So that is one of the big differences. In fact, what percentage of your malt bill is rye in the Zach Ronaldo rye beer?
It's like 13, 14, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's like 2.5 pounds out of 11. So whatever that percent is.
So even yours would not be able to qualify for the World Beer Cup for the actual rye beer category. That's interesting. So let's go through and talk about some of the stats first. Let's talk about the American rye beer. When you smell one of these, you're going to get low to moderate rye character with some malt sweetness. They appear very pale yellow to gold with that nice, big, long-lasting white head. Flavor, very strong, rich, spicy rye flavors that can even linger in the finish. But they can be very easy drinking to very sweet, very dry, aggressively hopped with the strong rye flavor. Mouthfeel, medium light to medium body, and medium high to high carbonation. So rye is a husk grain and is difficult to match, often resulting in a gummy mash texture that is prone to sticking. Clean American ale yeast is used, but also can be made as a lager. American or noble hops are used. Some commercial American rye beer examples: Red Hook Sun Rye, Real Ale Full Moon Pale Rye, Founders Red's Rye IPA, Harpoon Rich and Dan's Rye IPA, and Bell's Smitten Gold Rye Ale. But this beer originated or was inspired by the German rye beer, as many American beer styles are. The Roggenbier, a specialty beer originally brewed in Regensburg, Bavaria, as a more distinctive variant of a Dunkelweizen using malted rye instead of malted wheat.
So is the name Rogan beer, does that mean rye beer, or does it come from this Regensburg? Because they sound similar, Rogans. But it actually comes from the word for rye.
I believe Roggen means rye. So to compare, the aroma of a Roggen beer is going to be light to moderate spicy, with light to moderate Weizen yeast aromatics that clove those fruity esters, the banana or citrus. They appear light coppery orange to very dark reddish or even coppery brown, with a large creamy off-white to tan head, usually quite dense and persistent, like a Hefeweizen or a Dunkelweizen, cloudy and hazy, of course. The flavor is very grainy, and there's a moderate spicy rye flavor, often reminiscent of rye or pumpernickel bread. Typically has an initial...
You know that pumpernickel means devil's fart?
Why do you know that?
That's a real beer.
It's a real word. Pumper, it does. Pumper comes from the word for fart, and nickel is like Old Nick, as in an old name for the devil. Old Nick, Pumper, nickel.
Why do you know that?
The more you know.
So it typically has an initial malt sweetness, sometimes a bit caramelly, before the yeast and rye characters take over. A Dunkelweizen made with rye is usually the way to describe this beer rather than wheat, but it has a greater body and light finishing hops. Malted rye here usually consists of 50% or greater of the grist. Some versions even have 60 to 65% rye. The remainder of the grist would be pale malt, munit malt, wheat malt, crystal malt, and or small amounts of debittered dark malts for color adjustment. The Weizen yeast provides a distinctive banana esters and clove phenols, and light usage of noble hops in bitterness, flavor, and aroma. And of course, typically a decoction mash is used.
You can do this.
Palanner's Roggen beer is a very popular one. Bear Republic makes a hop rod rye, which was actually the first rye beer in modern American brewing, which came out in 2000, which I was kind of surprised. I thought that was sort of recent.
You would think somewhere in like the 80s or 90s, somebody would have come up with one.
In my research, I was very surprised by that. And, Goose Island, Iron Hill, lots of other well-known craft brewers are making them.
Was the first rye beer released in modern American brewing?
There you go. You can ask me that in 10 episodes, and I won't remember.
I just plugged the new Lancaster Brewing Rye beer for this year. Came out in March of 2014.
And what is that called?
It's Hop Buggy. It's 5.8% amber ale, brewed with rye, oats, and wheat. So it gets a lot of the spice from the rye. It's pretty aggressively hopped, and it's got a good amount of chew and body from the oats and the wheat. So buy that. Support your local breweries.
Absolutely. LBC doesn't make a bad beer. I love it.
Although you are wearing the wrong T-shirt. You should have changed first.
Or he should have a
Everyone's in my
T-shirt that's
car.
half and half.
Oh, that's
Like
true. Yeah.
Two-Face. So you said you gave us the stats on the rye. What else can you tell us about the recipe of your rye beer? Does it I assume it's more of an American rye beer recipe.
It is an American rye recipe, and the unique thing about this beer is that on a lot of rye beers, the aroma, you can't really tell it's a rye beer from the aroma. So the way I got around that was I actually dry hopped and added some caraway seeds in the last 15 minutes of the boil, so you get that real rye bready type smell as you're going through the beer. And it just adds another layer to it. But other than that, it's a very traditional American rye beer.
Can you tell us what kind of yeast you used?
Safewell US05.
Oh, he even gave us the exact
know,
yeast.
right?
I love that. No
It's not-
secrets.
it's not a trade secret, trust me.
Very cool. So, shall we taste some beers?
Speaking
Let's.
of,
Yes. Here we go.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
All right. So, what are we
begins.
starting off with?
we are starting with the Zach Ronaldo rye beer, right?
I'm okay with every last bit of that.
I feel like we have to.
If it's a Flyers bottle cap, don't ruin it. Did you already ruin it? You Bruins fan, you would.
But how are you really supposed to? Oh, I mean, you really have to be careful.
I have extras. I'll
Open it
give
with
you
that.
one. Don't worry about it.
There you go.
Hey,
That's
see,
pretty
there
much
you
still
go.
intact.
There you go. I just wanted the
If you
beer.
want us to sign that, we can.
Nice.
You
We could attach it to the
you
table.
might be able
somehow.
to initial it.
Ooh, this pours really easy.
Nice.
Including when I spill some on my shorts.
Very nice.
All right.
More
That's
of
like the
the-
fourth time I've done that today.
The orangey coppery color.
I like how there were
end
two
of the
bottles being
spectrum.
passed around in opposite directions. They both ended at me.
Just like college.
Oh, but that one's empty now. I really like the color.
Yeah, me too.
It's a very nice color. A nice coppery amber.
Yeah, the aroma is very malty,
Ooh.
even a little fruity.
It pours smooth and drinks smooth. I like it.
Oh,
There's that word again.
the cat.
That smooth word.
It's always good when somebody who's not the three of us points that out.
We actually pulled out a calculator.
wasn't
It
gonna
turns
say
out the rye malt is 20% of the actual malt bill of this beer.
Oh,
So-
nice.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
22. I just
22%.
sorry to correct your math there.
You
So
can-
apparently we can enter this
enter
in a
it.
contest of sorts or something along those
World
lines.
Beer Cup, here
can be
you
in the
come.
World
Yeah.
It's that
Beer
Bruins
Cup.
math.
That's right.
It's that Bruins math.
Yeah.
There's something in the aftertaste of this that I can't put my finger on.
I think it's the caraway seeds.
You think so?
I think that was a
Yeah.
brilliant
Yeah, that
addition.
might be what it is. Yeah,
That's
it's a really
nice.
interesting flavor.
It's kind of an herbal bit.
And it kind of comes in off the maltiness, and the sweetness kind of fades into this.
But it doesn't linger. You get it, and then it's gone.
And then it kind of trickles
And then you're like,
away.
ooh, I
It's the
want that
American ale
again.
dryness.
Yes.
Good yeast.
I'm drinking loudly, sorry.
Yeah.
It's really
It's one of those moments where we're all drinking it and there's dead air.
No, but this is, I know it seems
So
obvious,
this-
but it would
this-
pair so nicely with German food.
This was
is
the
true.
first Flyers beer that you did?
It was the
or
first,
the first one
that
that you actually gave to a Flyer.
Exactly.
Right, yeah,
one of
okay.
two. But there's probably 20 actual
20
Flyers.
other. Okay.
He's got a binder full
They
of
can,
pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They can
yeah.
post the album to the website.
So since Ken is sports, this obviously will not be the Zach Ronaldo beer once Dabbler is up and running, but clearly this has to be in your lineup. I mean, this is a kick-ass beer.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea for a name or the new branding for this once the Flyers
You could
name
call
comes
it
off?
Sports! American
I've
Rye.
actually, based on the color of the beer and previous beers that I've done with tons of rye and that kind of caraway flavor, I've gone with the name Raichu, just because it's it's that color, it's zippy, it's got that rye bite to it. Seems like you threw a Thunderstone on a Pikachu and let it do its thing.
Oh, that's
Let it roll.
amazing.
I actually did a Raichu a couple months back with 3711 French Saison yeast, and that thing was just bone dry. So I'm still playing up with the do I want to do it as a Saison or as an American ale? And they're both pretty good. Might even make both and blend them. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be
Nice.
interesting, yeah.
Now,
Have
this
you-
is the first beer of yours that I've tried, but I could see this even being a flagship beer. I mean, because there are craft brewers doing rye, but nobody goes to a brewery for a rye beer. But this is it's good.
Yeah. We
It's
do
hard
plan
to
on
do.
having 6 flagship beers if you want to go into more of that.
Well, on our website we do list 6, but it's kind of split into the. We have a very Belgian French farmhouse style section of beers that we're very fond of, and that's kind of the style that we're going to. And on the other side is the Nottingham yeast kind of English session beers, which are something that I've also fondly loved.
I like both of those things.
As of late, and that's kind of where we split the bill there. It's either going to be 3711 yeast or Nottingham. That's I fell in love with yeast before I fell in love with the style, and I feel like those two will be our workhorses in the brewery. So
that's pretty cool.
The website is dabblerbrewing.com for
Correct.
anyone that wants to check it out.
Yes.
Awesome site.
And you can only view it if you are not afraid of the Cookie Monster.
We also don't check if you're 21 or not, and that's
Oh man.
that's because I haven't let my web designer know. So please be 21 if you're looking at it.
I don't know what if there's actually a legal reason for that, if they just do it.
It looks really cool to have a landing page.
I
like that,
imagine,
man.
yeah. Or the ones where you go to it and then the page turns dark and you get the pop-up window that says, "Please enter your birthday."
Yeah, but it's like
And I
you have
always
to
put my
have 4
real
captchas.
birthday in.
Yeah,
and
you
I
don't
think,
have to.
why? What's the point?
I'll just have it, really, really just be default, like January 1st, 1980.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. I could
yeah,
just
you're
go
good.
like 110.
Yeah.
111.
What, you were born in the year 1?
Well, the math works. I'm definitely
Wise
over
man.
21.
I see what you did there, wise man. Okay, so on that awkward joke with the I saw that. Don't worry. What do we have up next?
Let's do the Ubik.
You got it.
Ooh, this is the one Dan is either going to love or hate.
Yeah, this one's really weird. It's probably one of the weirdest things we've done in a
I'm
while.
placing bets.
This is also the second and third place winner at the the Mash Bash, followed by the Philly Homebrew Cup, respectively.
And this is a Brett-infected English Pale Ale, correct?
So I use the word infected like that. It was pretty intentional.
I like
We
saying
used
it
the
that way.
Trois strain of Brett to finish out sort of an imperial cream ale. We took the malt bill of a cream ale, added a bunch of local honey, fermented it, and then bottled it with Brett to kind of get that character. It's a farmhouse imperial cream ale, if you were to put that into any non-category.
Okay, that sounds like something I will enjoy. Once again, both the bottles stopped at our corner of the table. That's very nice. I like the way this is turning out.
What is this one called?
Ubik. This is for the Philip K. Dick fans. Amazing author.
Can you spell that for me?
U-B-I-K, all caps. The guy can write, let me tell you.
The only book of his I ever read, I think, was Valis.
Right on.
Yeah, that's the only one of his I ever read. Long time ago.
Oh, yeah, this has a bit of honey malt in there to add that honey complexity. Forgot to add that part.
This is very good. This is very crisp and refreshing, and you do get that subtle tanginess, that subtle tartness just in the back, which means I think Dan probably likes it.
It's very subtle, therefore I like
I
it.
was just going to say this is the Brett beer for the person who's not a Brett
Brett
lover.
beer, yeah, exactly.
Well, we also chose a strain of Brett that doesn't really do much of that crazy farmhouse stuff. It's not like Brett Brooks or anything where it tastes like a sweaty horse blanket rope thing. It's a very fruity type of Brett. It adds like a mango passion fruit kind of hint. Mm-hmm. It's the Trois strain. I believe it's from brewery La Fontaine. Could be wrong.
Fact check.
Yeah,
right.
Fact check. Steph's too busy looking at the beer to look at the internet.
Yeah,
It's nice.
It is, and it has a nice hazy pale color to it, and it does have those fruity qualities. It does have mango, a little bit of tiny citrusiness.
Yep.
Are these all bottle conditioned?
This one and the next one are both bottle conditioned. The rye and the last beer we'll do, we're not.
Yeah. Some of them are bottled off a keg.
Where is your current brewing space? Are you brewing out of your place?
Yeah. Right now it's out of our place.
It's either my garage or his garage. It used to be his grandmother's porch.
Nice.
So,
We've upgraded.
yeah.
Yes, very nice.
And what size system are you brewing on right now?
Anywhere between 5 gallons and a half barrel. I have a huge baby maker kettle. It can hold like 17 gallons, so we do bigger batches of the lower alcohol stuff and smaller batches when we can't fit that much grain in our ton. So somewhere between 5 and 15, usually 5, 10 for the beers that we do frequently.
And what size are you looking to have when you open
2
up?
barrel as a pilot system, 2 barrel, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and undersize and end up brewing 16 times a day or something.
Yeah, I very much like this one. I like both of these. These have both been really good so far.
good.
This is a really good. I think this is a good summer beer. This is very.
It's a weird concept. We try to fit 4 beers into a thing and make it cohesive, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, it does work together, and all the different pieces, and none of them are sort of vying for your attention. They're all kind of playing along nicely.
Did you ask your question? Did I miss that?
What's the ABV on this? I didn't ask it on the last one either.
It's actually 6.7.
6.7?
But as it is bottle conditioned with Brett, and we had a pretty low finishing gravity, but there's still the chance that it could have crept up to about 7 by the time it was finished. Because this bottle's probably, 6 months old? We brewed this in February?
Yeah, I want to say around 6 months.
Yeah, it's almost 6 months. So it could have dried out even more.
Right. And I think I think this is something that as it ages and dries up a little more, will get really interesting too. It gets different things out of it. So what was the ABV on the rye beer, since I forgot to ask?
4.5.
Thank you, Steph.
How many grams of caraway did you use?
How many milliliters of Jesus?
4 tiers. There's
It's like
always
a pumpkin
quiz.
clone. 4 tiers.
Ah.
Are you going to do it?
Am I going to do it?
Moving on.
Well, my glass is empty, so
Yeah, we should drink more beer.
Yeah.
what's next?
I guess we're pouring This Divorce Has Been Hard on Everyone. Yeah, that's an actual beer name.
That's a real beer.
This
You can
Divorce Has Been
add
Hard
that
on
to
Everyone.
add to the next rotation of Libation or Fabrication.
I think I will.
They were
That's a good
actually
one.
just on our last podcast now. This Divorce Has Been Hard on Everyone. It's kind of our take on a Belgian dark strong, finishing out a bit drier than most Belgian dark strongs do.
Where did the name come from?
Very silly.
Just because.
I mean,
okay.
yeah.
There's no story or anything. Just
If you look at our website, it's absolutely ridiculous anyway. Oh yeah, this beer has Brett in it, for those who are needing a warning.
Thank you.
It's finished with the same Brett species as Ubik is, so for those non-awesome Brett fans, I'm sorry for your loss.
I'd like to think that I've been coming around on it lately.
wow. This is really opaque, very hazy, very cloudy.
Yeah.
This beer is actually kind of funny. On the Philly Homebrew Cup, this was our highest rated beer. 2 individual judges gave it a 44 out of 50, and it was the only one that didn't medal.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
that must be a tough category.
Yeah.
And then we took
absolutely.
it to another show, probably like a month later, and got a 31 or something?
Yeah, it was completely.
Yeah, we got a 31
ridiculous.
from a judge. I wanted to cry. It was like, it's been an extra month in the bottle. It should be improved.
Should be
right?
better. Yeah. Yeah.
I get the dark fruit notes that you would expect from the plum and the raisin but it finishes so dry and so
Yeah.
clean and
This
I like
is
it.
my love with Wyeast 3711, the French Saison strain.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take anything to like absolutely no remaining sugar whatsoever if you let it. So
So just keep going.
yeah,
So this will just continue to get drier and drier. What's the ABV on this?
This one is 8.6.
Thank you. Wow, that's a high
Yeah.
one.
wow.
and it's probably crept up since then. So it could be 8.8 by now. But
You don't
this is
really
finished
taste
with
it.
Brett.
Not
yeah,
at all.
Yeah.
You don't really. Yeah. It does have that nice dark fruit, but a little
It's all
less
from candy sugar.
Yeah.
All of the color and all of the dark fruit, kind of raisiny stuff, is all from D90. Just use
Yeah.
some dark caramel sugar. The entire malt build is basically just English Maris Otter and rye.
Okay.
So the rye kind of gives it some more spice to stand on, because the yeast itself produces a lot of spice notes, and the rye kind of backs it up a bit.
It's very nice, and it does have that crisp, clean, dry finish that
Yep.
comes in. At
Yeah,
the
when
end.
you smell the aroma, you get the malt sweetness, and you're like, oh, this is going to be one of those Belgians. It's going to be really thick and chewy,
and it's going to stick in your mouth, and
yeah,
an hour later, you're
exactly.
like,
But and
"Oh,
you
wow."
get those fruity flavors you really want, and then you're like, oh,
Yep.
it like cleans
Yeah.
up after.
And what I like
itself.
about it is it has the dark fruit, like the raisiny, plum kind of dark fruit flavors, but it also like there's a hint of like almost like a mango melonish.
Yeah.
Brett Trois.
To it. Yeah,
the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely, it's very good. And hashtag cleans up after itself.
Hashtag cleans up after itself.
I've used that phrase before, haven't I? Yeah.
Probably. Was it before or after that day?
Oh, before.
The day that will live in infamy.
That was just the day where it became a thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, but this is one that if it's got Brett in it, I guess I really am coming
And that
around
was the
to it.
serious point I was going to make earlier, is that it depends on the kind of Brett and how it's being used.
6 months of Brett at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
And that, this being a strain that, like you said, has more of fruity quality and less of that horse blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
know,
this smells
hey.
like coffee. It's like, well, coffee can be roasted a million different ways and have
Exactly.
a million different origins.
Yeah.
So Brett is not just Brett as people know it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And
Couldn't
there's
do
a
a lot.
huge malt bill here that it
Yeah.
has to live up to as well.
Right.
It's
And
not-
to your coffee point, we were at a homebrew festival at Philly Beer Week. There was somebody there were so many different coffee stouts and coffee porters that were there. The one that stood out to me tasted just like beans, like not even brewed,
Right.
just like coffee beans. But they were right; it was still there. It's just how they chose to prepare it. So
Right.
with Brett in it, this is the way I can see myself drinking
Yeah.
beers with Brett.
Well, this is like a really fruity Brett. It's not like a sweaty, like weird farmhouse Brett. Which,
Yeah.
It's something I don't like either, to be honest. I mean, there's some good beers with it, but it's not something that I really enjoy. There should really be some more commercial beers with this strain in it.
Have you
I
thought
agree.
about barrel aging any of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually planning on going up to Weyerbacher and picking up some of their $25 twice-used barrels, throwing an oak spiral in them and letting them rip. But
this would be
I
amazing
was just
with
gonna
some
say-
vanilla and wood in the
this
background.
one in particular, the Belgian dark.
That would be really good.
Well, we
barrel
actually
is
do
really
a
well.
beer that's very similar to this, minus the rye. It's called Booty Clap, and that gets I know, right? That gets aged on bourbon
This
vanilla
booty
beans.
clap has been hard on everyone.
Yeah, right. It's a bourbon vanilla aged Belgian dark strong with no rye. It's a very simple malt bill, and then we throw some oak spirals on it to give it that character. This year, I actually am lucky enough to get an Italian grape blend from Keystone Homebrew because they have they press their grapes and ferment on site at the winery. I'm getting a Merlot and Cabernet blend of crushed grape skins,
Which
that have
could
already
be
been
called
fermented.
Merlot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna
right.
say that.
I have a Merlin blend of grapes that have already been fermented to kind of give it some more complexity. So it's going to be. It might actually be called Thunder Booty Clap or Booty Thunder Clap. I haven't decided yet.
I love it. So when the brewery opens, are you going to send some invites to the flyers guys? And
Oh God, yes.
that would be pretty cool.
They get paid, right?
The
What?
flyers, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Send anyone an invite if they get paid pretty well.
As long as they spend money at the brewery.
Yeah.
That would be but that would get you some good press too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Flyers, player visits, new brewery.
Oh, I don't even care
South
about that.
Philly
If
brewery.
they just want to come over and talk, that's
Yeah.
more than
that,
enough.
yeah, that's you. But I think Ken's like the
Better be
press
getting
and the
some
I got
money.
a
out of it.
selfie with Jill Biden at an event a couple weeks ago, and absolutely no one cared. No one gave a shit. I
Yeah.
was like, dude, this is Jill Biden. They're just like, what is that? I'm like, Joe Biden's wife. They're like, oh, that's cool. Like, next.
Yeah,
All right, come on, man.
Is he like the Prime Minister of Canada or something?
Yeah, right.
It's actually
Sports
that.
guy visits brewery in the area, gets drunk, leaves.
Yeah,
It's a great headline.
that's huge news.
We have another beer.
We have
We have one more.
One more.
Okay. So this one's the double IPA.
Yeah, this is called Tralfmadorian.
What is it?
Tralfmadorian.
Tralfmadorian.
Got to read Kurt Vonnegut, guys.
Sorry.
Slaughterhouse 5.
Sorry, never read it.
Spell it.
TRALF.
Says the teacher.
Yeah, right.
Wait, stop! I can't hear while you're typing.
Editing.
TRALF.
MADORIAN.
Well, I don't want to spell them incorrectly on the website.
Yeah, that's true.
And ABV, since he's going to be cutting this out anyway.
It's 8.5.
I could leave it in.
Now you have to.
Yeah.
Now it's funny.
See, Paul gets it. Oh, that smells nice and strong.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. What was the ABV? I missed it.
8.5. What does it matter, man? Just drink it.
Well, we
Don't worry
put
about
we always put the name of the beer, the ABV, and the style when we list them on the.
It's made of booze and hops.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Ooh.
It's
Smells
fruity, it's
seductive.
grassy, it's slightly dank. It's awesome.
It's fully dank.
It's got some dankness. I'm
actually,
liking
when
the
I
dankness.
when I started putting together the business plan, I was like, I'm never making an IPA, never making a double IPA. Everyone makes those.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, I was like, yeah, let's draft up the plans for a double IPA. And so
Yeah.
it goes.
Nice.
Fun thing about this one is that, as you've mentioned before during your homebrewing sessions, that there's usually a bittering, an aroma, and a flavor addition of hops in most beers.
Mm-hmm.
There are no hops added to this sooner than 15 minutes before the boil ends.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
wow.
there was
Oh,
just
just
a ton
all
of
at
hops
the
all
tail
at the
end.
end.
Yeah.
85 IBUs all in the last 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yep.
It's just chock full of hops.
And dry
Yeah.
hopping?
Tons.
Tons of it.
Tons of dry
Yeah.
hopping.
We don't have a single bittering addition in this beer.
Really?
Do you use whole flour pellets?
We use pellets for the boil additions, and then for dry hopping, we use the whole leaf. It's easier to work with, in my opinion, until we
Nice.
get a commercial scale.
Do you
Way
want
to
to try
do
to
it.
guess the hop, Wayne?
Guess the
Oh,
hop.
geez, you won't. This is so much stuff.
Really?
Centennial.
Pff, nope.
Cascade.
Nope.
What was the one? J.R. Belma?
Zathura?
Belma.
Yeah.
What's the one with the Z? Zythos?
Zythos.
Nope.
Zathura.
There are 5 different hops.
I'm
that
just
you've
throwing
listed
out.
on
I mean,
here.
this is based on nothing, but
Yeah.
just throwing out names.
Cascade?
Fuggles.
Absolutely not.
That's right. I forgot to
Willamette.
One.
Yo.
Yes.
Oh!
Hey!
Ding, 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 ding,
And that's only 1 ounce out of like half a pound.
ding. What didn't we say yet?
A lot.
Yeah.
Amarillo.
Fouquier Francais.
You're getting really close with the Amarillo,
Hey, I'll take that.
but
Citra?
you're not. Nope. Yeah, you're right. We have
Citra?
have 2 ounces of Citra in this
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
See,
Warrior?
No, 4 ounces, 2 additions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Warrior?
Nope.
Oh, God,
You're always good at picking
Simcoe?
out the hops. You love
My
Simcoe.
favorite hop.
I don't get cat piss, so it
No,
can't be
I don't
Simcoe.
either. So that's
Okay.
Wow.
I'll give you a hint. One is Australian. One is a traditional sea hop.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
Correct. We use 5 ounces of shrimp on the Barbie. And one of them is an American hop blend that is actually gaining a lot of popularity, and it's got a blend of about 8 different C hops.
C hops.
C as in the letter C.
If you don't know, I can just help you.
C is for cookie.
Yeah, our listeners are probably getting very
It
bored.
rhymes with
Probably.
Schmalkener's Flight.
Falconer's Flight.
Yeah. So we have Falconer's Flight, Chinook. Just
we
for
didn't get
straight
Chinook.
up dank.
We didn't get
Yep.
Chinook.
That's
Well,
the C we
if
didn't
you
say.
get any dank that is directly from the Chinook, I found that Chinook between 20 and 10 minutes is absolute dank. So we just did that. So we got Falconer's Flight, Chinook, Citra, Australian Galaxy, and American Willamette. So it's quite a blend.
Yeah, that is a pretty. There's a word I can't think of right now.
Wayne can't think of a word.
My God.
Do you
Quite the
grow?
robust selection.
Do you guys
Yes.
grow your own hops at all?
I'm growing hops right now, but none of those are actually in this beer.
Nice. I grow Cascade and something else. I don't know what the other one
Right
is.
on.
But
Mystery
I
hop number
have
4.
yeah.
3 Cascades, 2 Willamettes, a Centennial, and this new one from New Mexico called Neo 1, which is growing like a monster right now.
Awesome.
So I can't wait to harvest that and use that in a beer.
I
We'll
visited
do
a
that.
hop farm in New Mexico, and I was like, "Holy crap! They really can grow here in this dry, arid
Oh,
climate."
they're awesome. They're
It's
so
amazing.
awesome. And this vine is it's nuts. It's growing twice as fast as some of my older plants. So
This is a delicious beer.
This is a very
Thank
well
you.
executed IPA. Yeah.
And for me, the first sip I took was nice and strong and bitter, but then it got slightly less bitter as I went along, and just kind of rounded itself out. But then the aftertaste for me was still nice and bitter. So the sip of it wasn't, but it was still there in the end, and I really like that. I don't think I've ever had an IPA that did that for me.
right on. Yeah.
I like the hint of dank. Definitely.
but it's
awesome.
it's not unpleasant. The
But it's
aftertaste
not-
is really nice.
No, yeah, and it doesn't
it's really
leave
easy
you
to
with that
overdo it.
with that like cigar.
I don't get
Taste.
that feeling in
Sticks
the
around your
back
jowl,
of my
Yeah.
teeth
sort of,
that I hate.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it does not clean up after itself.
No.
It leaves the mess.
It
but
really
no,
does
but
leave a
it's
mess.
a nice mess.
But it's
It's
a
an
mess I
abusive
could deal with.
relationship.
It's an organized mess.
It's a mess I could pass out on.
There you go. Not with your shoes on.
Well, yeah,
That's trouble.
that is trouble. I passed out with my shoes on in a friend's house once, and I woke up with games of tic-tac-toe on both arms.
This should be called "Where Is My Pants?" Double IPA.
Just tic-tac-toe,
Or
you got
where
off
are
easy.
my?
Yeah.
Did I just say "Where is my pants"?
Where's my? That's even better.
That's
Where's
even
my
better.
pants?
Where's my pants?
Where's my pants?
Do the Where My Pants At series.
Where my pants at?
All right,
Next
Wayne's
beer.
going for second glass. It must not be that bad.
No, I decided I wanted to. Yeah, it's pretty good.
He loves dank things.
I do like
He
dank.
loves
good.
dankness.
For those people that want to use Chinook, use it well. It's easy to overdo it.
I can
Easy to
imagine.
overdo it.
Yeah, that's
For
a
all those
fine
single
line.
hop beers, don't
Yeah.
use Chinook. That's silly.
At what point did you add the Chinook?
We added a 15-minute edition, and I believe there was no dry hop of Chinook in this one.
I love how they're checking each other.
Or it could
Nice.
just be that they have the sheets.
There's
between
one
the
sheet,
of
two
them.
people.
Yeah.
This was brewed months ago. I don't even know. I'm really surprised it still even has hop character. This is months old.
No, this one's only a month old.
Oh, that was the one we did for Mash Bash. I forgot.
Yep.
Yeah, this was the.
This
did it
was
win
the-
anything?
It was 4th place in the DIPA category, or
Woo!
IPA category, but
Yeah,
there were so
4th
many
place.
entries they actually awarded a 4th place, which
Yeah,
is weird.
in like 90 million entries we got for it, so that's pretty cool.
All right.
That's pretty cool. I'd imagine the IPA would probably be the most crowded.
Yeah, I thought I was never going to enter one, and I was like, you know
Yeah.
what, screw it. We got time. We got like 3 months to do it. Let's just make a double IPA and do it well. So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I
happened.
think it turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah,
In fact,
I like
Wayne,
it.
can you hand me the bottle? If
I will make it so.
Thank you.
Make it so. So, the flyers labels, do you design them yourself and put them together, or?
Yep, it's all on Photoshop. I'll usually go to the NHL Flyer website, or just, ESPN has a pretty good, even though they hate hockey for whatever reason, they have a pretty robust photo section of all the different games. So it's pretty easy to find, just pictures of relatively newer games. But there's usually a theme, and I'm huge on puns, so a lot of the there's like Danny Brier's Fist Pumpkin Ale is one of them. Like
Nice.
Ilya Bryzgalov has one of the best names. Right before he got traded, I made Why You Have to Be Mad Hefeweizen. And then literally a month later, he got traded, so I split the batch into 2 and made a strawberry version of the Hefeweizen. It's like Why You Have to Be Mad Strawberry, or Why You Have to Be Mad Hefeweizen Strawberry Edition, but it was the buyout edition label where it's a red label and all that because of the strawberries.
Nice.
But I'm huge on puns, and there's no shortage of good pictures online of these players, so it's not too hard to make a label on Photoshop and then just think of a clever name to throw on there.
Yeah.
And boy, are we full of terrible, terrible names.
No, No, I think they're quite creative.
Well, thank you.
I like them. Have you thought about any labels for the beers for Dabbler?
Absolutely no distribution is the rule.
So it's going to be all tap
Yep.
only.
And I'm not sure how I am on this position of having other bars serve our beer. I think in the beginning it's something good to get our name out there, get some good press, but I don't know if I'm able to say that it's going to happen in the future. Something I'd rather have everything done in house.
Complete control.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go to a bottle shop and you buy a bottle of beer, you don't talk to the brewer. You can't give them feedback. You're just a butt leaving an angry Yelp review if you don't like it, or saying nothing if you do, telling some friends. But if you're the brewer or an owner and you have people drinking your beer right in front of your brew house, you can be like, oh, this is too bitter, this is too this is too that. You get so much information, you can make a perfect product, and it really closes that gap and bridges that disconnect between the producer and the consumer, which is something in the industry that I work in is something that bothers me tremendously.
Something we've learned about recently from other people we've had on the podcast, that somebody might blame you with your beer for an issue with the way the beer is stored at the distributor or something. So that butthead that writes the angry Yelp review might have beer in their hands that wasn't cared for properly after it was purchased from you, and that it trickles down to you because they think it's your fault.
Of course, when we have no control over anything, if it leaves the brew house, you can store it in a blistering hot car for 6 hours, and then I'm sorry if your beer doesn't turn out great. There's not much we can do on that end.
Yeah.
And, the money's already made when it gets to the distributor, so we have really no say in what happens.
Yeah.
Which is why distribution is no.
Being a no distribution brewery, or would you want to do like the full-on brew pub thing with food, like almost like a restaurant, like a full-on destination kind of thing?
The plan, and something that I'm very inspired by, smaller nanos popping up everywhere, like Tired Hands and Forest and Maine. They very wholeheartedly believe in local food and fermented food. I've been making kimchi and sauerkraut for a while. I'd have to say
cool.
It turns out pretty great. I plan on serving that and some locally sourced meats and cheeses.
Cool.
For lack of capital and lack of really want to be in the restaurant industry, as many brewers get themselves into that whole thing where they're like, oh, I own a brew pub. Really, you own a restaurant that makes beer. And nobody's ready for that when it happens. If you go up to Round Guys and you talk to Scott, he'll be like, yeah, I wanted to own a brewery, and now we own a restaurant that makes beer, and it's rough. So I think that we're going to be serving a limited menu of local meats and cheeses, that pairs well with our food, house-made kimchi and sauerkraut, sourdough bread, as well as the beer. So you don't really need much of a hot kitchen or deep fryers or anything to perpetuate the ridiculous, burgers and fries kind of stereotype of most brew pubs these days. But, that's just the way we want to do it.
I do like Rochambeau for it.
Feeling salted, guys. Calm yourselves.
After you, Wayne.
I do like the idea of breweries that don't distribute, that only serve their beers on location. I think it's a different experience. The beers, it's a whole different take on the industry of brewing beer, and it does make it a sort of a destination. You go there, you drink the beer. That's where the beer comes from. That's where you drink the beer.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
Now, would you even consider that, like Tired Hands and Forest and Maine, they do special bottle releases,
right?
Like Hand Farm, the one that they infect with Brett.
Manu Negra. I just went up to Forest and Maine and talked to Gerard the other day. I got a bottle of Manu Negra. I'm firmly in belief that you can make good bottle releases happen in small quantities. Develop a great beer that you feel needs to be in a bottle and aged, and it turns out well. I definitely think that we can do that. Booty Clap this year, we're aging it in bottles for a while, so we might even wait 2 years before it's released just to see what'll happen to it. But some things need to be bottled and aged for a while, and you don't have the storage space in a fermenter to bulk age them, and you want to distribute them and see what happens. So
nice.
If you're going for a Forest and Maine kind of feel, you have to promise me you will have bacon popcorn. Like they do at Forest and Maine.
I drink sriracha. It's going on everything.
They have to make their own bacon. I mean, like Tired Hands has the candied bacon. They have the bacon popcorn. So Dabbler will come out.
Bacon beer. Sriracha bacon beer.
Sriracha bacon beer.
Yeah.
Oh, let me know when that's made.
What Voodoo wanted to be.
Bacon egg rolls. No.
That's not a real beer. Not a real beer.
So if you guys don't have a location yet and you're not distributing, is it safe to assume your beers are not really available for mass consumption?
They are not. They are available for you knock on our door, and if we are home, you can go into the garage and pull yourself your own pint off the kegerator.
Cool.
Or the keezer.
Nice.
And this garage that you brew in, where would people be able to find this?
They can definitely find out if they send us an email, and if they're local to the Philadelphia area, we might be able to send them our way.
And if they're not murderers.
Well, of course. Yeah. Why would you even go there? That's
We
just-
have lots of caustic. We will burn you.
Do you want to give that email address?
Sure. You just go with Ken at dabblerbrewing.com. Really simple.
So simple that Dan and Steph both have to write it down.
Yeah, it's my name followed by the website.
record keeping. It has to be precise record keeping.
Can't screw that up.
No, of course. Well, I mean, I could easily at that. Oh man, dare I ask?
Dare you ask? I know it
The
was
answer's
coming.
no.
I already know. The English Pale Ale is my favorite.
Well, apparently I'm not allowed to ask it, so you can't say it.
It's. I know already. You don't even have to ask
Okay.
it. Ubik?
Yes.
Am I saying it correctly? That was my favorite.
Awesome.
I love it.
Right on.
I won growlers of it.
We can probably make that happen.
I can't decide between the Ubik or the Belgian Dark, which was called this wedding.
Divorce.
This wedding.
This wedding.
This
Divorce
divorce.
has been hard on everyone.
hard on
This
everyone.
wedding has been going on for way too long.
That's the next beer.
The open bar is over.
Yes, they're both very good. The double IPA was that the booty clap?
No.
No.
Booty clap we
clap.
didn't have.
Oh, that was the Vonnegut reference that nobody got.
It's called Vonnegut.
Vonnegut.
It's like a weird porn title for an awesome writer. It's Vonnegut. Vonnegut. Yeah.
Wow.
You're flagged.
I am flagged. No, that was really good for a double IPA. It was a really well done double IPA. But
Thank you.
It is a style that's, you have a million double IPAs.
I mean, everyone's trying to rip the enamel off people's teeth
Yeah,
with
exactly.
bitterness,
Mhm.
and like the driest beer on earth. This is fermented with 4 different kinds of champagne yeast and gone down to like -5 gravity points or something. And I don't do that. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just not something that we're comfortable doing. West Coast beers have a place and a time, and we're definitely not in that place and time right now here.
I think that's true.
In Philadelphia,
In
Yeah.
Right,
Philadelphia,
yeah.
not the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for me, it's between the Belgian Dark and the Ubik. I can't really.
If someone put,
Were
a
to put
gun, to your head.
I'd kick him in the nuts.
Okay. Dan?
I will have to say probably the Zach Ronaldo one.
Right.
The first one. Yeah, Raichu, if we will. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
So, you guys, Sophie's Choice.
Hey guys.
What are your favorites out of the beers we tasted today?
Honestly, Divorce is my favorite.
Yeah?
Divorce has been hard.
I would just want to take that out of context.
This is my favorite.
This divorce has been great.
Yes. This divorce has been great for everybody.
Divorce is delicious. Sticking by it.
With
Yeah.
all the alimony.
Ken?
Oh, it's got to be divorce. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's the hardest beer that I've pulled off to make it exactly what I wanted it to be in my head, in a very altered state of conscious while drunk.
Yeah.
So it happened and it's good.
Came to fruition nicely.
That's right.
Very good. Very good.
I like that there was a diverse.
There's usually one
Yeah.
standout that everybody picks as a
Exactly.
favorite. That's true.
Yeah.
This would be an awesome flight, though.
This would be an awesome. You're right.
For
Yeah, this
real.
would make a great flight.
You have beers that
And I think we
complement
did
each
it in a
other.
great
It's
order
a
as
good,
well.
it's
Yeah.
a good flow.
And it runs the gamut of a whole variety of styles.
Something
Yeah.
for everyone, but all very well done.
And the awesome part of it is we only use 2 yeasts in our entire brewing operation. Only
That's
2.
That's
amazing.
impressive.
Yeah.
It's temperature control and malt and hop selection. It's how you make it different.
That to me just proves that you can do almost anything you want without having to go over the top. It's just a matter of knowing what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. Yes, you can go over the top and make it awesome, but it's really easy to overdo things.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
And
you
there's-
can keep it simple and straightforward and make it awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Exactly.
people that are overdoing it out there, and you don't need to do that. If you have the basics and do it right, you can end up with so
Yep.
much good stuff.
I mean, the divorce only has 2 malts in it, and that's kind of speaks to the fact that it's absolutely ridiculous and very complex, and that's
Absolutely.
candy, sugar, and yeast and temperature. It's how you make things incredible with not much.
Well, I'm very impressed that all of this was able to come out of that. And so we're looking around 2015 for the brewery to
Yep.
open? Okay, very
Yep.
cool. With a yet-to-be-disclosed
Right.
location.
Well, we're going to start with a tasting room and do growler fills, pints on site. We plan on having a liquor license to sell beer for consumption on site, obviously, as it is a brew pub, but don't want to sell liquor. It's the whole deal. I like the tavern idea of beer only. There are some local meads that I really enjoy out in Lansdale. We definitely have some guest taps on for their meads because that's a very unfulfilled category in Philadelphia, as far as I see. But, it's really just beer, mead, and food. That's all you need.
That should be really cool. So you have to keep us posted for when you guys open.
You got it.
Yeah. Let's see here. So it was dabblerbrewing.com, DABBLER brewing.com, right?
Correct.
And then if people wanted to find out where they can currently get your beers, just email you, Ken, at dabblerbrewing.com.
Right.
Okay. So, of course, if for some reason you don't have a pen near you or can't remember that, all the links that you need will be on beerbusterspodcast.com, where you can visit the swag shop, you can sign up for the newsletter, read the various articles that we are writing, and I urge you to go to the website anyway, because Wayne worked long and hard to get the new website up and running.
Long
Looks
and hard.
Awesome.
Yes.
You did a great job.
Yeah,
It's
I
beautiful.
have
It's absolutely
to,
beautiful.
I would have to agree.
Thank you.
You want to do our website?
Sure.
Wait, maybe you'd actually get paid for that one.
We only pay in beer.
I take beer.
You
Beer
Actually,
word.
our website was built on one case of beer. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
Yeah, we did a special release of a half German Hef and half American IPA called White Widow, and that paid for the entire website and the hosting.
Nice.
It was that good.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just got a bottle and Stubbies, and people are all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, gentlemen, we would like to again thank you for coming out to where we are and sharing these wonderful brews that I look forward to being available for everybody else. You're welcome to return anytime you guys see fit, even if you just want to help me bash Steph as a Bruins fan, or shout "Go Sports" with Wayne.
Sports.
Exactly.
Sports.
Yeah. But that, unfortunately, my friends,
Kick the
brings
puck
us
into the goal.
to the
That
end.
it would be disallowed, first of all,
It would.
if it is in kicking motion. Just saying.
I'm gonna.
Is that like a home run?
yes?
Sports.
Sports, go sports. But that brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters podcast. It was Ann Sexton who said, "God has a brown voice as soft and full as beer." Simply said. My friends, Paul, Ken, we would like to thank you again for coming out to where we are here. As always, I am Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our fermentertainer.
Wayne Baker.
Until next time, we bid you adieu.